Here's something I struggle with as a copywriter, especially in a world where we're being told content is king. Hey, this is Justin Hitt for Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips. I asked a question on a message board about uh, basically what is your approach to helping clients understand that content is not king. So, in my mind, content is something that we put out there. Sometimes it's egocentric. It's just out there to get search or organic traffic. And if you have a sales letter or a space advertisement and you just simply put it in front of a qualified audience, that very often that is a shorter path to the sale. Now, in this conversation, individual came back and said that the content is the top of the funnel and sales is the bottom of the funnel. And this funnel has a pipeline. And that makes sense, especially since we do know that customers have a journey that they must go through in order to make a buying decision, especially if you're doing lead generation and out of the entire audience, you're able to close those who have an immediate need, but then you use lead generation to reconnect with the individuals who have a need in the near future. Now, with the funnel concept, my belief is to have the funnel as short as possible, to do campaigns rather than simply funnels. And the reason I look at it this way is because Jeff Paul, Gary Halbert, Joe Sugarman, Dan Kennedy all just simply use space advertisements. Now, sometimes these space advertisements were advertorial in nature, so they read like content, but they actually had a headline, an opening paragraph, some key ideas, a call to action, and then offered something of value that required a behavioral interaction. But this content that a lot of folks talk about today is simply just filler. It's what you'd give to a good quality lead just to kind of give them something because you didn't have an offer queued up. And if you had an offer queued up and you start doing the things that are a part of copywriting, which is a good headline, attention grabbing opening paragraph, moving them through a series of steps in order to make a decision, then you might as well just write copy. Now, is it my understanding of the definition of content versus the definition of copywriting? It could be. Because a lot of what I've learned through this conversation is that a lot of content developers do see content as lead generation. And so it's the context and materials just before your opt in page. Now, in my case, what I teach is that your blog posts, basically, it's the Jeff Paul approach, is that every page on your website does one of two things. It does the generation of leads or it does the conversion of sales. Now, I had the opportunity to be a part of the .com boom. I had an IT services company. I was serving .com companies. I was helping venture capitalists vet and migrate .com and technology companies. I had data centers as clients. And what I saw was the behind the scenes is that the hype around the .com being different was a mechanism for attracting investors. So when you see Bitcoin is different, cryptocurrency is different, this is the newest thing, this one's different and offers an opportunity. It's about the newness of the thing as a copy technique, not as an actual anything that's new. So I might sound old school referencing techniques from Jeff Paul, Gary Halbert, Joe Sugarman, Dan Kennedy, Bob Bly, a lot of these folks that still exist today who simply just put a space advertisement in a target publication, generated leads, sometimes even generated sales, um, and that was the whole business. They didn't have a blog. They don't even have a lot of public information available on YouTube. Most of that stuff's been pirated. They left the content to the conversation that people were having about what they were doing and what they were not doing. So, how to make $4,000 a day in your underwear, that was a campaign that the front end of the campaign was a lead generation piece in a target publication, and the back end was a tiny book or report that the person requested. Some folks tell me that it's different today because we have a lot of content available online, but I would argue that the content that's available online is very low value because the barrier of entry is so low. And so people don't really think about what they put out. Even some of my podcasts, I'll simply have an outline and I'll speak to it because I'm filling in what my clients have asked questions about. So this person is already a customer, they've already committed to becoming a subscriber, they already visit the website, and very little of what I produce is for the general public. So I don't have high search engine organic traffic. I don't have a lot of shareability on social media platforms. You'll see a lot of our social media materials are pre-written social media materials. We'll write 30 to 40 different pod. So we'll do a podcast, we'll present the podcast, and then we'll do like 30 to 40 feeder pieces to drive that podcast. Now, again, this is content on someone else's network that's designed to extract somebody from that network onto my media through a click through an engagement of some kind. And then ultimately, when they listen to the podcast, every feature content, every piece of public content has a call to action. So I'm treating the content as sales materials. I don't do podcasts for my health, even though it does help me become a better communicator and to better solidify ideas. It's not content. Content is what's in between commercials on television. Now, am I biasing myself? Because my original message, it says, especially with AI, anybody can write okay content. And this is true. AI can allow us to write materials that I previously have a junior copywriter make, somebody who writes fiction, somebody who's a writer, and I'd pay X number of cents per word. For 25 bucks a month, I can create tens of thousands of words of okay content, which we then recycle, just like I did before, into copy. So the content becomes the fodder or the framework for understanding what potential prospects may be interested in. However, I'm building on known conversions, known purchases, and then ultimately delivering for my clients a piece of sales material that goes into their campaign. Now again, I don't see sales material as the used car salesman. I see it as a conversation with a prospect. So when a salesperson sits down with somebody, they don't talk about the news and weather more than a few seconds to build a little bit of rapport, but then ultimately it's about how can we help you solve problems. So what I'm finding is that too many people are hung up on writing the wrong kind of content. They're creating materials, they're writing, and it feels like they're doing something, but then they're dissatisfied with the results. They're frustrated because they don't have any sales. They spent all this money up front to try to attract search engines to give them a little bit more traffic, to try to be popular on someone else's platform, and they miss the ultimate opportunity of being something for a specific audience and then asking that audience to take the next step. See, I'm not sure that I believe there's a top of funnel. There's a campaign that you're doing, and it's prospect, present, close, upsell. Anything you wrap around that needs to push forward where that prospect is in your funnel. So if a prospect is new to the idea and we're helping them develop a problem statement so that they can find a solution, then we may offer materials, and maybe I'm confusing this word content in the comments below, reply. But I see a content as something you might put in a discussion forum to kind of extract a little bit more ideas out of somebody so that you could write a piece of sales material, so you could write a lead generation piece, so that you could build out a special report. I don't see why people give away so much trying to attract people to their business when they can go out to a mailing list that is full of people that look a certain way and they've been gathered together by somebody else's resources, and you can just simply pay a small fee and then put an advertisement in front of them and get them to raise their hand and then give you more information about them, and now they're on your list, and then you can follow up with them to help them develop the challenges that they face. So if you're a copywriter, yes, you can make money writing content, but the copywriters that get rehired, the copywriters that are great marketers, are those who help their clients sell more products and services. So if you come to a customer and you create 5 marketing pieces, and those you got the content mentality, and so you gave them words on a page and they send out those things and nothing happens, it could be the customer didn't know how to articulate what they really wanted. Now, some people, and this was my frustration in the original reason I posted this, because I asked the question, what's your approach for helping customers understand that copy, not content, is king? There are misinformed people in the marketplace who just want pages on their website. They just want another blog post. They want another email message in a series, where I really think it's a better service to clients. And I know from implementation, to give your clients something that is conversion oriented rather than just filling up somebody's time. There is no shortage on the internet of content. It's an unlimited amount of content. And again, content is very often something that goes between advertisements. And so search engines are using your attention for content in order to sell advertising. And in fact, they're monetizing from it. So by going against content, you're actually going against a massive big technology engine that promotes content as value, when in fact, solving problems for your prospects is the value in which they ultimately want. And so I want to see a funnel that's as short as possible. I want to see, ideally, I'd love to put a sales message up and have a bunch of buyers. And and that's the most ideal situation. But knowing that's not going to happen, what could I put in front of that advertisement in order to precondition someone to do business with me over anybody else? And you got to be thinking about this for your business, by the way. And so now they've opted in. Now we're going to get to know each other. I'm going to survey them. I'm going to send a little bit of information and context about me and my experiences. I'm going to tell them how I work for .com companies and how I've worked for venture capitalists. And really what matters is the conversion and how do we get to conversion. And here's some ideas and strategies for improving your conversion rates. Here's some ideas and strategies for focusing your marketing dollars on return on investment rather than just more words on a page. And I'm going to get them that context so that now they're thinking in their mind, what I've been doing hasn't been working. Could I try this other thing? How do I get started? And so that's not content. That is lead generation, uh, expert positioning. It is establishing myself as an authority in a very specific niche. It's helping the customer understand they're in the right place. It's being compelling in an emotional way. So it's persuasive writing. And it's ultimately a better value for your clients. So if you've been writing that next podcast, and I ask myself the question, do I really need another podcast? I literally have published more than 500 episodes of podcasts. 500. If each one of those brought me, and here's the pitch. If you've got 500 episodes, 500 blog posts, and each one of those brings you in one customer, then that's going to be 500 customers a month, and boom, you're going to make all kinds of money. And that, I think that short circuits the brains of people who just want get rich quick. It short circuits the brain of somebody who thinks this next shiny object is going to solve the problem. My argument is, what solutions have been used over millennia and still work today that we can measure, that we can identify? And I really think it is sales copy. It isn't at the bottom of the funnel. It is the funnel. It's what context we bring to a marketing campaign: prospect, present, close, upsell. And it's the reason why someone would engage with us, because we're solving the problem that they have not, like Ted Nicholas talks about, the hidden problem, the hidden concern. It's not something they're going to admit. They're not going to come to you and say, I'd like to have a couple more blog posts because I really am not able to convert anybody on the website and I don't have any sales and we're about to run out of money and I heard content works really well. See, again, the authority of the big search engine telling everybody that content matters, that search engine optimization matters, and that all these things are necessary so we can send you organic traffic, ignores the fact that you could just pay them money and get the exact audience you want to see your ad. Now, it's an auction, so you don't want to rely on a single platform. You want to look at different mediums. You want to look at, can you build your own email list so you can come back to the same prospect without paying again? But that other part is not, it's not content. It's sales and marketing. It's positioning. It's the development of campaigns. It's the execution of campaigns in the sense that, there's got to be some measures in here. And so if you put your message in front of 500 people, you know, does message A work better than message B? Tell me if I'm wrong here, okay? I only have like 30 years of experience doing this stuff, and I've only had, a couple $100 million of success for clients. And, while I'm not out here pushing myself all the time, I am generating leads. And I am producing clients from time to time. Now, I don't accept a bunch of clients because I have a little bit different approach. I'm a bit more hands on. But is content king or is copy king? And if content is king, how does it pay for itself? Because I know copy creates leads, generates sales, and engages and helps us solve problems for clients. I'm Justin Hit with Ad Briefing's copywriting tips. I sincerely want you to be the most profitable and busy copywriter of them all. In fact, so busy that my content, you're going to look for the answers rather than spend a lot of time listening to me drone on because you're going to be so busy. You're going to have that $1 million agency. You're going to have that freedom of time, cash flow, and success that you're looking for. And the way that we help you get there is by asking questions. When you ask a question, it directs my attention to your needs rather than some ambiguous audience that I found out of a search engine somewhere. I can now focus on your needs, your desires, your outcomes, and deliver to you tools and resources. Now, because you're asking the question, you're giving me permission to follow up. And so if I have additional solutions that may help you, I'll mention those from time to time. I'll give you the opportunity to engage, but I'm not going to waste your time with content that simply fills in the blanks. You've got a busy life as it is. And if you're moving towards your goals and objectives, you need actionable insights, you need tools, you need motivation very often, and you need solutions. I hope I'm delivering those here. I'd love to hear from you, both comments, questions, and concerns. You can visit www.adbriefings.co.uk. And even though I don't have a British accent, that is a London. It was originally a London-based site, and I'll share with you Patrick Quinn's insights on writing copy that sells. I'll share with you insights on these other folks that I've mentioned, because again, there are methods that consistently work time and time again. The medium might change, the hype might change, but the results are consistent. Let's help you get consistent results by improving your ability to write words that sell. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast.